Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now tonight we're going to be speaking all about leadership. What are the qualities of a leader? Do you have these qualities, and if not, can you acquire them and become successful? So that's what we're going to be talking about on today's show, and my guests tonight are Shirley Palmer, CEO and founder of Calmred, who is coming on with her client Diane Dunkley, MD and founder of RM2 Music, and joining us by Skype we will also have CEO of British American Tobacco and ex-CEO of Proctor & Gamble and Coca-Cola, Jim Lafferty. Blimey, that was a mouthful, wasn't it? So we've got some lovely guests on tonight that will be talking all about leadership and how to become successful. But first of all, let's hear some interesting news from our lovely Patricia. Hello Patricia.
Hi Chris.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Hello everyone at home.
She's so quiet, isn't she? Dainty. So you got some good news for us today.
Yes. Well, you'll be a lucky one if this would happen to you.
All right.
A bank clerk who fell asleep on his keyboard accidentally transferred almost 189 million.
Oh my gosh.
Into someone's account. So he was doing a payment of around £54, and then he fell asleep with his finger on number 2. So he just got like 2 euros. Oh, no. So if you convert it to pounds, around 189 million pounds.
Wow.
And then the funny thing is, his supervisor didn't see the mistake. He didn't spot the mistake until later on in the day. One of his colleagues saw the mistake, saw the transaction, and managed to correct it on time before the bank would have to pay all this money to whoever the lucky account holder was.
But how does it work? I don't know how this works, but when a bank does make a mistake like that and the money's already gone into account, do they have the right to take it back again? They must do.
I'm not sure.
Because imagine just checking your account and seeing that amount of money in there, and then realising it's just, obviously you know it's not yours because it must have been a mistake, but just the fact that it's just there, must be so tempting to spend it.
I know, I have no idea what the law says about this, but in Germany, it happened in German, and he says that if they hadn't spotted the bank worker's mistake,
they would have kept it, probably.
It would have cost the bank millions of euros.
That's interesting. So if they make a mistake,
it's probably if the person withdraws the money and, well, it was on my account, so I took it and I used it.
No, I often sort of wonder, like, if that ever happened, like, you know, because banks do make mistakes sometimes. Actually, my sister deals with the same kind of thing, and she's always transferring like millions around here and there. And I often wonder what would happen if, you know, there was extra money in my account. I would definitely check with the bank first before I would spend it, because imagine you spend it and then you have to give it back. That's just even worse.
Especially if it's 189 million.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, you definitely check with the
bank.
bank.
I don't think I could spend it that fast, to be honest. I'm quite good with money, I think.
Second news. In Spain, you know, Spain has got all these festivals happening, and they had the bullfight, they had all these kind of things.
Which I hate.
So what they do every year, it's called La Tomatina Festival. Okay, they got tons and tons and tons of tomatoes, and they have a lot of, I think they select a village or something, and people come from all over the world. To spend a couple of days. I think it's like, it takes only a couple of hours for the event to actually happen. And they spend thousands and thousands, tons and tons of tomatoes.
What a waste of tomatoes.
And this year they had 20,000 people. They had to reduce the amount. They normally have around 45,000 people that come from all over the world to be part of this festival.
But what did they actually do? Just roll around?
They just throw tomatoes at each other. And
do you know what? I feel like doing something like that today, because sometimes I just need to de-stress, and that might be quite a good way of.
It's probably they go like swimming in a ketchup, as we call it, tomato pulp. And it was raining. It was really messy, and everyone had to pay around 10 euros to be part of this. And there was a gentleman that said that he loved the event. He would definitely come back next year. And he's from Australia. And he came with a group of 700 people.
Oh, gosh, just to go for that.
So that's, I don't know, a couple of planes full just for the festival, for one day.
Wow. Well, the thing is, I think it's much better doing that than what they do with the bullfighting and everything, because obviously it's more humane and stuff. But I mean, it's just a bit weird, isn't it, really?
Yeah, the things people go through, like they go to extremes, they travel all the way across the world to be part of something silly. It's
maybe
silly,
catch on over here as well, can you imagine?
That's probably what attracts people, because it's like there's someone saying that he was crazy, and it's safer than the bullfights and the running after the bull as well. Yeah, they have a festival for that as well.
Must be fun for the kids. I suppose it is a way to de-stress and just to let your hair down and be a child again, isn't it?
And it was raining on that day, so you imagine when you see the pictures, it even looks like blood.
Yeah.
And people just sliding down the streets, throwing tomatoes at each other. Get the anger out, isn't it? It's really funny. It's really not something I would put myself for.
I bet you would if you were stressed.
I don't. Well, travelled all the way to Spain just for that.
It's only a couple of hours, Patricia.
Just do it at home then. Get some tomatoes and throw at each other. Now, on the more romantic side, this is such a cute story. This man, he wanted to propose to his girlfriend. He's 23, but I think this is what goes on in every boyfriend's mind. What am I going to do? I want to make it special. I don't want it to be just like everybody else. I don't want to propose just like everybody else does.
I know how to make a love proposal special while you're talking about love proposals, because apparently people are going to be proposing to one another at the love school, or they did at the love school.
Yes, I heard they're gonna. Yes, I heard there were some proposals there.
Oh, never mind.
Chris,
go ahead, Dory.
Okay, so what he did, he's 23, he wanted to propose to his girlfriend, not just anyhow, he wanted to do it in a special way. So he wrote a children's book called The Gorilla and the Giraffe. So they were walking around in the library. As an excuse, it was an excuse to look for a book for their nephews, who they normally look after as well. They babysit. So when she grabbed the book, he asked her, "Oh, can you read it out loud?" And then it was the story about the gorilla, the giraffe, blah, blah, blah. So then he got down on one knee and said, "My dearest giraffe, will you marry me?"
Aww.
And now they have copies of the book. They've given out copies to all their friends, and they are planning their wedding, and they're going to have a little gorilla and a giraffe on top of the cake.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So cute, and it's such a different way of doing it.
How did your husband propose to you?
Did he? It was just old-fashioned way.
Really?
Old-fashioned way. It wasn't anything like that. No. There was another story.
Is that you're not going to tell us anymore? Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Did he take you out, or did he just?
Yeah, we went out for dinner.
Yeah.
And then he said, "So we've been dating for a while. We got to know each other, and you marry me."
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
"No." Yes.
Oh. Yes, of course I will. There was on the news the other day as well, another couple. They took them to the beach, and they were sitting on a hill, like on a rock somewhere. And down on the beach, on the sand, he wrote, "Will you marry me?"
Oh, that's romantic. That's nice.
Yeah, so they were just sitting there. When she looked down, she saw, "Will you marry me?"
That could have been for anyone, though. Imagine. Imagine if it was for someone else. And she, yes. And it wasn't even for her.
It was for her. Second, pets. Oh, someone bought this little, what is it, English Springer Spaniel.
Oh, I love those.
But he was blind. So they got him, and the owner is teaching him how to fetch. So he's doing, because he can't see anything, so she's teaching him with sounds and words. And there's videos on the internet with him running after the ball and catching it. So it just shows that everything is possible.
Yeah, it's true.
And
she said, things. It's our topic tonight about learning how to do things if you don't think you're capable even.
So you see? He's blind. Normally, a dog, he sees a ball, boom, and his instinct is just to go run after it and catch it. But with this one, he doesn't see anything. So first she started with sounds. So she put like a little bell inside the ball, and every time she threw it. But then once the ball hits the floor, that's it. He doesn't know where the ball is anymore because he can't see it.
Yeah.
So then she started using words, and she does things like cold, warm, hot, until he finds it. And he's really quick. He's doing it really well.
That's really sweet, isn't it? Because a lot of people wouldn't even get a dog that's blind in the first place.
That's when
to actually get a blind dog in the first place and then go to that trouble of teaching it how to play fetch. It's so sweet. It's really nice.
When I was reading these news, I thought, oh, maybe she got him like from a shelter or something. She adopted him. But no, she got him when he was 3 months old. So he was still a puppy. And by then you would know he's blind.
Yeah, you can tell.
It's not like he was involved in an accident and became blind for some reason. He was born like that. And it's really brave of someone to get a dog like that.
Because dogs are a big responsibility anyway, aren't they, really? But you've got one. You've got a little puppy now, haven't you?
Yes, I do.
What's it? Is it a girl?
It's a girl. And it's a girl. Her name is Vicky.
Oh,
I'll bring her one day.
Yeah,
maybe one day we should have like a pet show.
Yeah, we had one actually recently.
Did we?
Oh,
you
didn't
didn't
bring her on
invite
anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be related to the topic. I just want to see her.
No, I'll bring her.
I think we've run out of time actually. How many? Did you have more articles too?
Yes, I do, but
don't worry.
it's fine.
Okay, save them for another day.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Patricia.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you again next time on the show. And after the break, we're going to be joined by Shirley Palmer, who's the CEO and founder of Calmred, and we're going to be speaking all about leadership and what qualities a good leader should have. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to our leadership show, and to introduce our first guest, let's take a look at this video. And we have the lovely lady herself, Shirley Palmer. Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good.
So glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So, Shirley, tell us what you actually do.
I'm just actually about to launch my new business, which is called Shirley Palmer International.
Wow.
And my focus is very much on mindset and leadership.
Okay, so obviously great topic for you to be on today.
Indeed, indeed.
So, and you also do something else, don't you, as well?
I have another business which is called Calmred. So that comes from the Calmred head. And that's very much about personal development. So it's another, we're in the same thread, shall we say.
All right. So tell us, what do you think makes a good leader? I know it's like a bit of an open question because there are probably a lot of qualities that do make up a good leader, but what would you say are the most important things, you think?
I think I'd have to say the most important thing is really mindset. So it's helping people understand that everybody can be a leader. So it doesn't matter.
Really? Are you not just sort of born like that, or have a special kind of...
No, I don't think so. I believe it's about making the decision on whatever you're doing. So no matter whether you're a CEO of a business or whether you're a person who works in Starbucks, for example, the importance is actually the presentation that you're putting on what you're doing and the professionalism associated with that. So it's how you lead your processes, how you lead your life, how you bring your mindset to that place of feeling in a successful place.
Now, I have seen, I remember like when we used to do these little scenarios at university and we had to get into groups, and there always seemed to be that particular person in each group, or maybe a couple of people that would stand out and take control of certain situations. So would you say there are also natural leaders as well? I know you can sort of probably learn it too, but would you say that there's our natural leaders that kind of take control of things?
Yeah, I would say there's people that have a natural tendency to look in that stance of being more of a leader. But again, it's looking at what do they want to achieve in that process and how they can do it. The importance is really about helping other individuals see what they can do for themselves. A leader is not there for the glory, but actually to help support the others. And a great leader will have a great team.
Yeah, that is such a good point, because there are people obviously that just like to lord it over people, don't they?
Yes.
But I'd like to hear about you, Shirley, how you actually started out and how you got to be doing what you're doing today, because have you always had this dream of having your own business, or was it something that kind of came
Actually, it's true. I have had that dream. It's quite interesting. In the last week, I got reminded of going back to the age of 3.
Oh.
Now, it's not my memory, but obviously it's a memory that's been told to me. And I'm a farmer's daughter, so I come from Northern Ireland. And at the age of 3, I suddenly decided I was going to my grandma's house. So if you can imagine going down to the end of the farm to a little stream, crossing the stream that I could have got a little lost in, and then walking up the fields to my grandma's. And I think that perseverance was a great reminder of how I've always been someone with a positive mindset, someone who's always looking at what do you want to do, how to change things around, and looking at beliefs. So again, I go back to thinking around the age of 12, saying to my mother, what's faith? I don't understand this thing called faith, Mum, going to Sunday school, and what did that mean? And she said, well, you will get it at some point one day. And then the reality for me was, it's about believing in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you understand what it is to actually look at being a leader and take that mindset on board of who you want to be and what you want to do. And I think then I left the sunny side of Northern Ireland and all its greenness with the rain, and came to the bright lights of London.
Is that scary?
It was actually quite scary, because
Did you come on your own, or was
I came on my own.
Oh gosh,
I wouldn't say I had much street cred or knowledge, so probably a little naive, but it was a great opportunity. And for me then, it was the inspiration of learning and understanding how to be an entrepreneur, looking at what I wanted to do in business, considering my own business, what would that be. And
did you have an idea already though when you left Ireland to come here? Did you have something in mind?
I think the idea was more about running my own business and having the skills to run a business. So I've trained as an accountant. I've worked in various different businesses, publishing, finance. I then ended up in private equity. And I think the key thing that private equity taught me was really understanding the big picture, the vision. And I love the professionalism. So I've done 17 years in private equity, and learned to see how people build up businesses, look at the importance of what a business is, but the professionalism of building up a team and understanding where that all gels together and how that works. So 6 years ago, I decided to leave the lovely job with all the trimmings that went with it.
Another brave step.
Decided to set up my own business. It was an inspirational trip. I was in Africa at the time, came back, and after that trip I realized there was a bit missing in my life, and that was, where was my give back? Where was there something else that would give me another level of joy and excitement rather than getting up every day and doing the job? And set up my own business, which is now Calmred, and it's gone from strength to strength. So my focus has always been looking at what the next level is, what do I want to do next, who else can I train with, making sure that I always train with the best and surround myself with the best people, and that's helped me build the best team around me, and the importance of what that actually means. So as I said, next week I'm looking at launching the business, and it's very exciting.
You don't stop, do you? Because you had your business already, and now it's like something else.
Yes, well,
so it's good. You keep moving.
I think for me, I look at it simply and say it's lifestyle. People say, so what do you do for work? And I say I don't work anymore. So I'm typically up at 5 every morning, and sometimes it's midnight before I go to bed. But that's okay, because I'm loving it. That's the importance to me, and I'm loving that if I can help one person smile better, feel better, and actually change one tiny little thing in their mind that will help them shift forward, then that's the most important thing for me.
That's the thing, because I think a lot of businesses and people, they do things for themselves, and they're out for themselves, and I think it's such an important thing to give back, to make other people happy as well, which is why we have the show as well. when you do give in that way, and when you do help, like you said, make someone smile or change something, it makes you feel good. You actually get a lot from that yourself. And sometimes you might not even be like earning as much as you did before, maybe in a particular job that you were in, but doing something like this or helping someone in some way makes you a lot happier. And it's just an amazing thing, and that actually gives you the inspiration to do more as well. So I think that's really wonderful. Yeah. Now, when people come to you, Shirley, and they're interested in sort of maybe starting their own business or improving their lives, what kind of advice would you give them?
First and foremost, I would go through an evaluation process with them to understand where they're at and what it is that they feel is the barriers to stop them attaining what they want to attain. And then it's really going through a process of understanding where their goals are, what they want to achieve, and helping them understand that actually anything is possible. Do a lot of people come to you maybe with a bit of a limited kind of vision? Most people come with limited vision. They tend to have a lot of limiting beliefs. I focus on deleting those. I help them understand the importance of actually using the imagination. Our imagination is so much more powerful than actually logic. The key thing is actually looking at what can be there and let the how come in itself. Don't get bogged down in, oh, how am I going to do that? Why not look at, well, actually things are possible. And when you start to surround yourself with those possibilities, you see how the other things will start to come into play. Helping them understand how to live from a place of instinct and the importance of that and why we've actually got that gut reaction. And specifically with a lot of women, I find this is quite challenging as well. You know, men typically on the boardroom table or on the golf course, they will have those conversations and that gut reaction, but a lot of women tend to second guess. So they buy into a little bit more of the fear. So I encourage them to really look at that and understand the importance of what that is and why women have more empowering skills in some ways that they need to focus on.
I mean, I think women make great leaders because when they overcome those kind of fears and maybe because a lot of women have complexes, don't they, and things from the past and stuff like that, and fears and all sorts of things. But I think once they get to a certain point, I think they can make great leaders because they have that, what's the word? They can sympathise with people, they can work well with people a lot of the time, they understand people, I think sometimes a bit more than men do, would you say?
Well, it's the organisational skills.
As well.
I suppose.
Oh yeah, that's good as well.
The nurturing skills as well.
Exactly.
Are great. And the key thing is their intuition. And I remind, sometimes I have women that come to me that have maybe not worked for a little while, and they say, oh, well, I'm just a housewife and what have you. And I said, so you look after your husband, you look after the home, what else do you do? Well, actually, you're running a business. And it's that reminder that actually you are doing more than you think you're doing. It's just not acknowledging and taking that gratitude back and acknowledging what it is that you do.
Okay, so Jane, we're going to be joined also by someone that you've actually helped as well to start her business and to get all the skills that she needs. She's going to be joining us after the break. So if you have a question as well, you can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And if you want more information about anything about the show and our guest this evening, you can go to the website chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back to our leadership show, and joining Shirley Palmer, we also now have Diane Dunkley, who's been helped by Shirley, I believe.
That's
Good
right.
evening.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent.
So tell us how were things before for you, work-wise and things like that?
Well, when I first met Shirley, I think I'd been running RM2 about a year.
What is RM2?
It's a music company. It stands for Real Musicians, Real Music.
Okay.
So I manage artists and I'm a booking agent as well.
Right.
So I'd been running the company about a year. Just won an award as Best New Business for a networking group, Ladies at 11. And I had all these dreams and aspirations, and then just got hit with this wall of fear. Just thinking, well, how am I going to achieve them? I got caught in the how.
Right, which is what you were talking about before, Shirley, isn't it? Yeah.
And I'm one for self-sabotage, thinking, I've got these dreams, but how can I do it? I'm on my own, because I literally had started the business on my own. I've got such big dreams. How can little old me make such an impact on the global music industry, which was like my dream, my aspiration. So working with Shirley, she just helped me just to take it down a notch and actually just step into my confidence, into my power. So it's down to believing that yes, I can do it, and again, don't worry about the how. As long as you believe in yourself and the fact that you can do it, you will get there.
But you must have had that to that extent, some self-belief, because you had already started the company, hadn't you? But it's just quite interesting that it just kind of hit you out of the, was it out of the blue, or was it something that maybe was always there simmering away and then you just kind of
simmering? But I think it's a success. Okay. I think having that success, thinking, oh my gosh, this feeling, oh, it could happen. You know, you always want something, and then when you actually go, oh, this is really actually quite scary. And
the fear of success.
Fear of success, and also, can I actually, once I've achieved that success, can I maintain it?
Right.
So as all these fears just kept building and building.
This is a thing, because you know, sometimes people watching and they think people have it quite easy. People that are already successful, they don't feel nervous, or they don't feel these things don't come to them, but it does come to everyone, or most people at some point, doesn't it? So you're already successful, you're doing really well, and then the fear struck, and you needed some help at the time. There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Not at all.
There, because some people, I'm not going to ask for help, I can manage it on my own, or I'm just going to give up in some cases, but you didn't. You actually got help for that, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, just talking through the process and realise it's not you. Most people who run their own businesses, as you said, go through that.
Yeah.
It's actually acknowledging it and just working through it, learning how to work through it and pushing through.
What were some of the key things maybe that you applied to get your confidence back and to keep going with your business?
It's just self-belief. It's actually taking a step back and say, well, look at what you've achieved so far. So you've done it once, so you can do it again. And it's just remembering that you've done it once, so you can do it again. And it's not taking a big step, it's just taking little steps. Because I have a tendency to go, right, I'm here, I want to go over there. And I keep forgetting it's a step process. So it's reminding, no, just step at a time. And probably once a day, as long as you've done something towards that objective rather than achieve the objective.
Yeah.
As long as you've done something towards that objective.
Okay. Shirley, why do people sometimes hit blocks like this, other than what Diane's already said? What other reasons why people think, you know, they're doing so well and then they just let it all go?
I think the biggest problem is other people and other critics. So what we continually do is compare ourselves to others rather than give back the acknowledgement of what we do. So one of the things I would say about fear, great acronym, is false emotions appearing real. So when you allow yourself to see that actually it's just an emotional process that you're going through, and actually maybe that thought isn't real, actually how would I apply to it differently? How can I address it in a different way and get past that and look at what else I can attain and I can achieve? So there's an encouragement in there to help people to look at, what is that thread? What does it mean? Was it a thought that someone else said to you? Was it something that stemmed from a childhood situation? Well, how about actually just right here, right now, let's get rid of it. Let's just put it in the bin and let it go.
You
and
have
realize
to sort of trace back where it's coming from in the first place?
Well, it's not necessary. If you can look at it and simply say, I know it's there and it's there for a reason. It served its purpose. Thank you very much. Now it's time to let it go and be able to say, okay, I can go do this. And why not look at doing it? The daily routines, as Diane said, I think there's a real importance of helping people understand how to, instead of doing to-do lists, how to do not to-do lists.
So, tell me about that. That sounds good. I've got a massive to-do list.
So
how do you do that then?
Okay, so typically lots of people will actually do a to-do list, and what generally happens is you have a very long to-do list, and at the end of the day you've still got a long to-do list. So you look at it and you think, well, what did I achieve? So what I've developed is a very brief program which I call the S15, which is about how people set up their day. But one of the key things in there that I encourage people to do is every morning take, even if it's only 5 minutes, and sit down and think about what your goals are for the day. What goals do you want to achieve? What do you want to be able to tick off at the end of the day? That might be picking up the phone to speak to your dad. That might be sending your friend a thank you card for the dinner from the night before. It might be related to your business and thinking of, what's the next goal that I need to do? Who's the next person I need to contact and actually speak to? And it doesn't matter if it's Richard Branson Sit down, find an email address, send an email. You don't know who might know Richard and actually give you an introduction in that place. Put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter. Does anybody else know? So it's helping people think a little bit more out of the box about what they do. The not to do list is encouraging people, don't berate yourself. Don't think the negative thoughts. Don't say, I can't do this. So it's all those things that we tend to crowd our mind with in those negative aspects of thoughts. So on average, they say we do 60,000 thoughts a day. What if you took those back to 600? Can you think how much more focused and how much more powerful you would be? And then you would actually get the things done. And delegate. Delegate, you know, do that bit of delegating. Know what you are good at and do what you are good at, and make sure that you pass the things out to others. To
delegating sometimes is something that people find very difficult to do, and I was one of those people.
Okay.
Because I used to, because I have changed quite a bit and I'm still working on myself. I used to just really grab hold of things and want to do everything myself. And one day I realised that I was getting so stressed. I really wanted to, because in a way I think it was a bit of a pride as well, because I thought maybe I'm going to do it better than anyone else because I'm more passionate about this thing, which is not, it's not a good thing. You don't get very far like that and you just end up stressing yourself out. So I had to learn to let go of things and realise that actually there are other people that can do things just as well, if not better than you. And you need to learn to trust people. You need to learn to, you know, to give other people a chance, because they need to learn as well. They can develop these skills themselves as well. And when I started to let go of things, I actually realised that I was getting a lot more other things done, even some more important things done. The other stuff was important as well, but it was just sort of freeing me up to do other things that were taking me forward. But the more I sort of held on to things and didn't trust anyone and said, I want to do this myself, I was being a bit of a control freak, basically. You're nodding away there when you're talking about me.
Yeah, I think I tend to do that. I've got very much, this is my business. I've started this and I know how all the emails need to be, how to be worded, and I know how
obsessive, really, isn't it?
It is quite obsessive, and it's like, actually, no, you can get help. You can hire a virtual PA, you can get an intern, and as you said, giving back, giving someone else a chance, and it's just learning to trust and letting go. And as you said, it frees you up to do it.
Because it's your baby, isn't it, at the end of the day? It's your baby. It's like, I want to take care of it, I want to do everything, I want to make sure everything's all right. But that's not the way to go. You just smother everything, you just spoil everything.
That's right, because then you're actually in the business, and then you can't be on top of the business. Yeah. Because then you can just take a step back, and then you can do all the strategy stuff. Because then
it's true. You can see the bigger picture, can't you? When you're sort of not so bogged down with all the nitty gritty.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big lesson for me. And like I said, I can kind of start leaning towards that again, but I know I'm not letting myself do that, because I know I've seen the benefits of letting go of certain things and trusting other people. So that's really working for me. So Diane, tell us something else maybe that you've applied and how you're doing now with your business since you've been getting this help.
I think it's down to the self-belief and just having the confidence and walking into, because we have a power, and acknowledging that and not being afraid. And just having the confidence to step into it and step into what we can achieve. Have
you seen changes in your business since and the way you are?
Yeah, but it's down to the confidence that you exude. So my objectives and my aspirations for the business are very big, very scary, but I've now got that confidence because I can, it's going to happen. Not quite sure how yet, but I know it will, and I know I'm on the path. And it's learning to trust my gut. Because it's always right, and just have, again, trust in myself, getting rid of the self-doubt, and just
I like this thing about the not worrying about the how, because I never forget a guest that came on. Both her sons had a mental health issue, and they weren't accepted in any schools at all. So she went to 25 different schools, and they weren't accepted in any of the schools. And she basically said, I'm going to start my own school for them. And she said she didn't know how to do it. She didn't have the resources. She ended up mortgaging her own house. And then she was saying that I just didn't know where the money was going to come from. I didn't know how I was going to do it. She didn't have any experience ever running a school for autism. But she did it because she said once she actually got on the road and started doing things, people started coming out of the woodwork and helping her and offering her free things and giving her advice and stuff. So it's all started to come together because she had that self-belief. She loved her son so much as well that she wanted the best for them, and she wanted to give to other children and other mothers that were in the same situation as well. And now the school's doing great.
Fabulous.
And she's going from strength to strength. So it just goes to show that you might not know how you're going to do everything. It's not, that's not exactly what you're saying. It's not that, that's not the most important thing. Just the fact that you start something and you believe in yourself and just do it, and then it's all going to come together.
And just take little steps.
And get advice, get help.
Yes.
If you need that, always talk to someone.
Well, I think, I mean, I have to say, I think Diane is doing an amazing job right now. I mean, she's taken on board understanding that step-by-step process and actually really looking at where her business can go and where it can grow. And looking at the artists that she's working with now, looking at the base foundation that she's putting together, and the imprint that she's going to make in the music industry in this country is superb. And you know, yes, part of that's come from self-belief, part of that's come from understanding when to delegate, who to bring in to help her, knowing what her best strengths are, and acknowledging how else to apply it in a different way. Taking on the mindset, yes, I can do this. Understanding what the different processes that she's done in her career in the past has actually brought to her today, and what those strengths were, and brought those into her current business in a new way.
So you're
so
very
it's
happy
applying,
with the way everything's going.
applying those processes.
Okay, we're going to go to a quick break now, because we are going to also speak to someone after the break, and that's Jim Lafferty, who is the former CEO of Procter & Gamble and Coca-Cola. So he's going to be telling us all about what he's doing now and what he says, what he thinks makes a good leader as well. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and we're now going to speak to Jim Lafferty, who's the CEO of British American Tobacco. Good evening, Jim. Hello?
Hi, how are you, Chrissy?
Hi, I'm very well. How are you?
Good. It's 3 a.m. in Manila, but it's good to talk to you.
Oh, you poor thing. Thanks for staying up or getting up to talk to us. So I'm sure you're going to have some nice advice for our viewers tonight, Jim.
Yes. Sorry, you were breaking up a bit, Chrissy, so I didn't hear the first
don't worry.
part of it.
So, Jim, so I've got here some notes about you. It says you started off as a fitness instructor working for $5 an hour. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. I started, I'm a physiologist and psychologist by training. I have my own business about 25 years ago in the US, and I was hired by Procter & Gamble as a fitness instructor to help overweight executives lose weight. And life is quite serendipitous. One day, a brand manager, which leads the marketing in a company like P&G, I was measuring his body fat. And he made a comment to me. He said, you know, I think you would be good at what I do. And I asked him, what do you do? And he said, I'm in brand management. To which I then responded, what the heck is brand management? And he explained it, and I liked it. I liked what I heard, so I applied to P&G in brand management. And the first time I applied, I was turned down. And I got a letter, a very standard corporate letter saying, you know, we like you very much, but we don't see a good fit for you in the company. So I wrote a letter back to the HR manager and said that interviewing is not a science, it's an art, and I want another chance. And they were so shocked that they brought me back for a different set of different people. And after that, I was hired in the US back in 1985 at P&G, and then moved around the world from there.
Jim, tell me, when you got that knockback, first of all, did you kind of ever consider giving up, or were you like fired up and you said, no, I'm going to get this?
It wasn't so much, no, I'm going to get this, but I always believe that you can fight for things that you believe in. And you know, I'm a big believer in the bumblebee theory, which is everyone in the world knows that a bumblebee can't fly because its body's too big, but the wings are too small. Now, we all know that except the bumblebee, and the bumblebee just flaps the wings and it flies and defies, you know, the laws of physics. I think, you know, I was always raised, and I have to thank my parents for that, that you can challenge and fight back. I mean, human beings made that decision, hence human beings can be challenged. And so I just felt I'm going to write them a letter and they know where I stand. And they liked it.
Yeah, that's great. So Jim, tell us, what do you think makes a good leader? What kind of qualities would you say?
Well, there's a quite a long list, but to make it very simple, that leadership, what's parallel to leadership is followership. And you have to ask yourself the question, why would people follow someone into battle, whether it's a real battle or business battle? What would make someone do that? And I think the most important thing of all is great leaders follow the principle of doing the right thing when they're confronted with tough decisions. That enables the people that are in the followership side to say, I understand this person, I trust this person, and it's not just about them protecting their best interests, it's about that individual making decisions that are right for us. And that's what makes a great leader. And if you look through history of when we name out great leaders like a Churchill or a Gandhi or a Nelson Mandela, the central theme of their lives was doing the right thing, even when it was incredibly difficult to do.
That is such a good point, isn't it, ladies? Very much. Yeah, that is such a good point. So, Jim, do you think that there are people that just aren't natural leaders, that they can't even maybe learn to be a leader?
I absolutely think that leadership can be taught. I agree very much with your other guests that anyone can be a leader. That it's really about choice. I mean, when you are confronted with those difficult situations, many people choose the what I would call the easier wrong versus the harder right, and they choose to protect themselves or to cover themselves or to take the path of least resistance. I mean, take a Mandela. He was offered by the apartheid government, if you sign this confession, we'll let you go. Now, the harder right is to say, I'm not going to do this and I'm going to stand for the right thing. But that means he stays in prison and he doesn't see his kids. The easier wrong is to say, I'll sign the confession even though it's wrong, so I can get the heck out of prison and I can go home to my family. He didn't do that, and he stayed 27 years on Robben Island. That's why we embrace a man like that. If he had signed that confession back in the 60s, we wouldn't even know who he is. No one would know much about Nelson Mandela, but because he made an incredibly difficult choice, he's become a global icon for leadership.
Jim, have you had to make difficult choices in your position?
Many times, certainly not of that magnitude, but absolutely I've made all kinds of decisions, not only in the business. I've been offered huge bribes in my life.
Oh, really? I can imagine.
By companies and by suppliers. I've told people honestly, several years ago I was offered a multi-million-dollar bribe to award business, and I've told people I'm embarrassed to say it took me 24 hours to say no. Because I had to it literally caught you off guard to the point that you had to sit down and say, what are my principles? If my principle is to be a great leader and do the right thing, I have to say no. If my principle is enrich myself, then that's a different principle, which has with it its own prices. But you had to sit and look in the mirror and decide what kind of person did I want to be. I mean, it's very easy for people to say, I would never take a bribe. When no one's offering the bribe. Yeah. I mean, we'll find out what you've got when someone offers you a couple of $1 million. Then we'll find out what that person really stands for. It's easy to be principled when there's no choice in front of you.
Yeah. Well, I guess everyone gets tempted, don't they, Jim? But the main thing is that you didn't fall into that and you kept to your principles.
Exactly.
Now, Jim, I'd love, when you're in the UK, I don't know how often you come over here, but I'd love to have you on the show.
I do come quite a bit because, working for British American Tobacco, our headquarters is right in central London. I will be there actually for 2 full weeks in October with a delegation of the Philippine government and then also some other meetings. So it will always be an honor to be on your show.
Oh, that will be lovely. That will be wonderful. I'm sure we're going to have lots and lots to talk about. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was my honor.
Are you going to go back to sleep now, or are you going to start your day? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just going in and out.
Okay. Are you going to go back to sleep now, or are you starting your day today?
No, I'll probably try to sleep another hour. It's
Aw.
Saturday morning, going on 4 a.m. I'll try to get another hour.
Oh, so you put the tie on just for the show. That's so nice. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me once again.
All right, Jim. Thanks very much. Lovely speaking to you. Oh, wow. How inspiring. I love that.
Great
What
story.
did you think about what he said, the principles that he talked about?
Oh no, I mean, that struck a chord in me, because working in the industry that I work in, there are some scrupulous activities at times.
Yeah,
and
can imagine the music industry.
And it can be quite tough.
Yeah.
And you have to examine your own principles and your values. I've been in several situations where I've had to take a step back and go, okay, right, how does this sit with me as a person, and can I, and have to make that choice. I remember having a situation quite recently, and I was talking to my partner about this, and he says, no, but you do realise you do things differently. And I was finding it very tough because I was going against the grain. And I was going, and my partner said, well, you've got a few choices. You said you can either conform and do what they do, and I said, or I could give up. And my partner turned around and says, no, you push harder.
Wow.
And it's like,
Oh, you've got a great partner.
yeah. So it's like, okay, take a deep breath and push a little bit harder. So yeah.
Because it's true, because that's what's going to make you stand out at the end of the day. Because,
Exactly.
like you say, in the music, on certain industries, it's just terrible
It's
what
tough.
goes on.
Yes.
And sometimes you think, well, if I don't do what everyone else is doing, I'm not going to make it in life. I'm not going to be successful.
Yeah.
But that's not true, because that's what's going to make you stand out.
Exactly.
Because there are people, artists, for example, that want to work with people that... We had someone on the other day, actually, an ex-contestant of the X Factor, and he was telling us all sorts of things. I was quite surprised at what he was revealing on the show when he came on. But for someone like him, he would love to work with someone like you, for example, that does things in the right way, and you will keep going that way.
Yeah. I mean, I've
So
had
there's
artists
always
come to
people
me.
looking for that.
I've had female artists come to me saying, Dan, I really need to work with a female in this industry. I need a female representation. Yeah, because they've had issues in the past working with males.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But there are lovely males.
there are lovely males out there.
There's lots of lovely males.
That will help you out and be ethical at the same
Exactly.
time.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Well, I hope the viewers at home I think they've learnt something really valuable tonight. Especially what stuck out for me the most is like not to worry about the how. That's definitely stuck out for me tonight. And also what Jim was talking about being ethical and not falling for bribes, and just to be that honest person. And I think that is a quality for me that I really admire in leaders that I see around me that I've worked with, is that person that is not out for themselves, that's not going to cheat people, that's not going to cause harm to anyone, but it's really there not just caring about the organisation, but caring about the people that make up the organisation. That's what really, really stands out for me. So I think if you've got that foundation, first of all, everything else you can pick up, can't you?
Definitely.
Thank you so much, ladies. It's been great.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you again next time on the Chrissy B Show. But if you do have any comments about this program, you can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And if you want some information about either of our guests tonight as well, you can also visit the website chrissybshow.tv. Thanks very much for watching, and bye-bye for now. You can come along to this place, very well known, the Rainforest Cafe. They've got a rainforest theme, lots of animals apparently, not real ones of course, but all the sounds and the rain, and they're all... Do you know what?
I'm going to have some fun with these straws.
They're all delicious and deliciously different as well. And actually the show that we're featuring this on is going to be a nature show, and how important it is for people to, connect with nature. Don't you think that's really important?
Well, that's absolutely. Well, that's actually the ethos of what oh no.